In episode 8, after the whole Claire fiasco, Bradley goes to Alex's apartment that night, and she doesn't do it to apologize. She's looking for something. And initially, Alex thinks that Bradley is coming to apologize and coming to explain herself. And Bradley is forced to do that. She does tell Alex, look, I'm sorry, but I was working for the FBI. I didn't really have a choice in this matter. And Alex is stunned. It just seems like ever since Bradley came back, it's one thing after the other that she's been hiding from Alex, this being the latest thing. But not only that, just in journalistic integrity, she gave up her source. And Bradley once again reminds her, yeah, I know, I'm aware I did that. I feel really bad about it, but I was working for the FBI. I did not have a choice. But I didn't come here to resign. I came here because me and Chip found a whistleblower. But in order to get her story on the record, I need to go meet with her in person, and she's in Belarus, and I need to go right now before she changes her mind. I need to go under the order of the network, and in order to do that, I need your signature on it. And Alex is floored. She can't believe that Bradley has come in here after what she just did, asking to go to Belarus to track down a source, and Alex says, no, I'm not doing that. I'm on the verge of landing a presidential sit-down. I'm not doing anything to jeopardize that. You're lucky you have a job. And then there's just typical finger pointing and blaming pot meet kettle sort of situation with these two that we've been seeing for 4 seasons. Alex's night goes from bad to worse when in the middle of the night she gets a phone call from the police telling her that they have her father in custody for public urination and public drunkenness. She has to go pick him up from the station, and he's been kind of lashing out ever since the whole story came out and it cost him becoming the dean. But when she wakes up the next morning, she finds out that somebody was videotaping him peeing on the statue. And it's just not a good look. It's not what Alex needs at the moment. At the moment, what she needs to focus on is the sit down with the president's people in order to assure that she does, in fact, get that sit down. That's her main objective. It could be huge numbers for UBN. When she gets to work, she finds out that just about everybody knows about the whole story with her dad. Everybody's seen the video. Everybody feels bad for Alex because it's just embarrassing. Before meeting with the president's people, she does want to sit down with Celine and just address some things. And when she goes to Celine's office, she finds that Celine is talking to the bro about a possible political campaign. Now, it turns out that Alex wasn't the only one to have a late night visitor. Celine also had one from her brother. The story about her and Miles and the affair has gone public in a big way, and it's embarrassed Celine's family. Celine marrying Miles was always thought of as kind of a slap in the face to her parents, and her brother had been sent there to demand that she leave Miles and return to France. He reminds her that she was sent there to cover up a chemical spill, and she says, yeah, I did that. But he shoots back, yet you kept going because of greed. And she lays out her plan. She tells him they're going to name a new CEO. I'm going to be in charge of a media company, which means I'm going to control the narrative. So why don't you worry about your little pet project of cleaning up that French River that's still full of crap, and I'll worry about my side of things. But her brother just says, leave your husband and return home. She's not willing to do that. Celine's always been an independent woman. She wants to forge her own path, and she might be able to use the bro to do that. But when Alex interrupts their conversation, Alex just thinks she's interrupting a conversation. It's also awkward because ever since her and the bro hooked up, she hasn't returned any of his calls. So it's just an awkward interaction between the two. But Celine lets Alex know, oh no, we were just wrapping up. The bro says hello to Alex and leaves. And then Alex is able to sit down and stress upon Celine how important it is that they land the presidential interview. When Alex returns to her office, though, she's surprised because her dad is waiting for her. Her dad has come to the office because he wants to clear his name. He feels like his name has been dragged through the mud, and he'll be able to do that with an interview on the morning show. Alex, being ahead of that, could facilitate such a thing, but she says, no, Dad, I'm sorry. I'm trying to land a presidential interview. I've got bigger things on my plate right now. I'm not helping you out. These two get into a big spat where she says, here's my advice, just go away and disappear. But he's not willing to do that, and she doesn't have time for this because she has to go meet with the president's people, which she does. The pitch that Alex presents them goes really, really well. It seems like it's a sure thing that she will get a sit down with the president. She's kind of flying high after this initial meeting. And then she steps foot in her office and sees that her dad is on the bros show. Because after Alex left her dad kind of started wandering the halls only to find the bro in the middle of his show where he was talking about non-PC things and her dad decided to shoot his shot. The bro, deciding to stick it to Alex because, once again, she's been blowing him off, said, yeah, you can come on my show. You can talk about whatever you want on my show. But when Alex saw her dad talking on the bro's show, she ran to the studio and immediately shut it down. It gets really awkward between Alex, the bro, her dad. Alex yelling at the bro, you should have asked me first. And then the bro pointing out, yeah, what do you call it when a woman ghosts a guy after sex? At this, Alex is appalled. She definitely doesn't want to talk about her sex life in front of her father, and she just tells the bro, whatever we had, it needs to stay between us. And then she drags her dad out of the studio, putting him in her car and heading back to her place, where on the ride back, she gets a phone call from the president's people, unfortunately informing her that she won't be getting that sit down because the story about her dad and the video has gotten bigger and the president just can't. It's bad timing. Alex puts the rejection on speakerphone so her dad can hear what he did just cost her the biggest interview of her career. This is the match that sparks the atomic bomb that would be World War III between her dad and Alex Levy. It carries over from the car into Alex's apartment. It gets really nasty, really contentious. Her dad talking about his legacy, Alex trying to point out, I am your legacy, and then just getting into the family situation. Because when Alex says, I don't even blame mom for leaving you, her dad decides to actually tell her the reason why her mother left. It wasn't anything her dad did. Her dad admits that he never wanted a child. He had a child. He had Alex because that's what Alex's mom wanted. But after Alex was born, her mom had severe postpartum depression. Her dad tried the best he could. At the time, postpartum wasn't exactly diagnosed, so he didn't know what to do. And then he was stuck with this child he didn't want and a wife who was despondent. Until finally one day she just up and left. Alex never knew any of this. For years, she had been blaming her dad when in reality it was kind of her fault. But, come on, it wasn't her fault at all. It was just mental illness. Either way, it's not an easy thing for Alex to hear. It's emotional for her dad to rehash these old bad memories until finally he just leaves. Meanwhile, though, back at the studio, the bro show continued. Celine actually invites her brother into the offices so he can watch a portion of the show to see what she was talking about when she said that she can control the narrative. As they both sit down to watch the bro show, her brother is very dismissive of the bro, and she says, no, that's the future governor of New Jersey. I'm going to finance his campaign, and look what he's going to do for you. And that's when the bro starts this spin job regarding Celine's brother's pet project. It's a company called Cien. It's supposed to make water clean. It hasn't really done that, but the bro is on his television show lying about it, saying how clean the river is. Suddenly, it all clicks for Celine's brother. He finally recognizes how important it is that they do, in fact, control the narrative, and what a good job his sister has done. He still, however, thinks that she should leave Miles, and once he does leave, she texts Miles. She says, hey, I'm ready to talk. I miss you, but he just texts back, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not ready to talk. That's not exactly what Celine wanted to hear, but she's able to blow off some steam later that night when she gets a phone call from Corey asking her if she wants to go do some cocaine. Corey had one of the worst days of his life. He got a phone call from his mother saying, yeah, you know what, I'm going. Like, mentally, I'm not there anymore. I'm making mistakes left and right, man. I've decided to just do a chemical euthanasia. Corey immediately headed to his mom's place to try to convince her and talk her out of it, but there was no talking her out of it. Once Corey wasn't looking, she took the pills, and not too long later, she passed away. And in order to just cope in that moment, Corey decided to call Celine. Celine's like, yeah, come over to Miles' old studio, and they decided to go skiing big time. Both of them needed a distraction from the suckiness of their personal lives. Meanwhile, not too far away, Alex, now that she's had time to digest what her dad said, sees the papers that Bradley left and decided, you know what, I will sign off on this. I was being harsh. She calls up Bradley, but Bradley doesn't answer. So she heads to Bradley's apartment. When she knocks on the door, she doesn't find Bradley. she surprisingly finds Chip. And Chip explains, yeah, Bradley left. I mean, she went to Belarus. She was supposed to call me every couple hours, but she hasn't checked in 6 hours. And I have a source there that thinks that she was detained because you know what they do to journalists there. As it turns out, Bradley not getting the okay from the station has put her in severe jeopardy in Belarus. So if she was taken, a big reason why is because Alex didn't sign off on the paperwork and Bradley was impatient.
Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.